Okay, so imagine this. You're at your computer and you need to book a flight. Or maybe you have to edit a presentation or even tackle something complex in Photoshop. But instead of doing it yourself, you just ask your computer to handle it. And I don't just mean like basic voice commands, the way you might with a smart speaker. I'm talking about your computer actually seeing what's on your screen, understanding exactly what you want, and then doing it, like step by step, just as if a person were sitting there. It sounds pretty futuristic, right? Well, it might be closer than you think. We're talking about UITARS today. It's this AI agent developed by ByteDance. And it's really changing how we think about using computers. UITARS goes way beyond those basic chatbots we see. It doesn't just respond to text prompts. UITARS actually understands and interacts with the visuals on your screen. You know, those graphical user interfaces, all the elements you actually see and click on. So let's say you ask UITARS to find your round-trip flights from Seattle to New York City on the 5th of next month, returning on the 10th, and sorted by price, lowest to highest. UITARS will actually open your web browser, go to an airline website, fill in those cities, pick the dates you asked for, and even sort the results by price, all while explaining what it's doing. You see it all in this little thinking box. And this is where it gets really interesting. UITARS isn't just working from some pre-programmed set of instructions. It can reason and solve problems, much like we do. There's this demo where UITARS was asked to install a specific extension for a code editor. Not only did it install it correctly, but it knew to wait for the application to load. It could even correct its own mistakes if a click wasn't precise enough. And the whole time, it explains exactly why it's taking these actions. That ability to understand and manipulate things in the digital world, that's what makes UITARS so different. It's not just responding to commands, it's interacting in a way that feels truly intelligent. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How does this actually work? Well, UITARS was trained on a massive amount of data. Screenshots packed with details about everything on the screen, like descriptions, positions, functions, the text associated with each element. And all this training allowed UITARS to build up a deep understanding of how these graphical user interfaces work, how to interact with them effectively. But it goes beyond just recognizing those elements. UITARS has to understand how they relate to each other and how things change based on actions taken. And that's where some really interesting techniques come in, like state transition captioning and set of mark prompting. You can think of state transition captioning, like teaching UITARS about cause and effect within the digital world. Like if it clicks add to cart, the cart total should update. Makes sense, right? And then set of mark prompting. That helps UITARS zero in on specific elements, almost like playing a digital game of find the hidden object. But one of the things that really struck me about UITARS is its ability to learn from its own mistakes. During the training process, researchers would give it error correction data to help UITARS figure out when it made a mistake and how to fix it. And they also use something called post-reflection data to help UITARS understand how to recover from those errors and how to avoid making the same mistake again. This constant learning, constantly adapting, it's a big part of what makes UITARS so impressive. It's not just some static program, it's constantly evolving and getting better. So how does UITARS measure up against other AI out there? The researchers put it through all kinds of tests, and the results are pretty interesting. One test, called Visual Web Bench, it measures how well a model understands web elements, and UITARS absolutely crushed it, scored way higher than some of the bigger names like GPT-4 and Claude. It aced other tests too, showing it's really great at perceiving and understanding visual information across websites and even mobile app screens. And we're just getting started, really. UITARS also did exceptionally well in tests that looked at its ability to plan, multi-step actions, to handle complex tasks on mobile devices, and to generally perform a variety of tasks on a computer. It's pretty remarkable stuff. This kind of performance, it isn't just about bragging rights. It really hints at UITARS being able to tackle even more in the future, like much more complex tasks, potentially automating these super sophisticated workflows. Imagine it going beyond booking flights. Maybe managing entire projects. Or what about designing websites from scratch? Now you might be thinking, hold on, ByteDance, the TikTok people, what do they know about cutting-edge AI? It's a fair question, for sure, but it turns out they know quite a bit. ByteDance has actually been investing heavily in AI research, and they've been making some serious progress, especially in areas like natural language processing and computer vision. UITARS is proof of how committed they are to pushing those boundaries, what AI can really do. It also shows us that innovation can come from unexpected places. We shouldn't count out those companies that aren't the typical tech giants. But let's take a step back for a second. Think bigger picture here. What does the arrival of AI agents like UITARS really mean for us? for our jobs, for how we work, how we live in the future. It's easy to jump to, oh, AI is going to take all the jobs. And yes, some jobs, those that involve a lot of repetition, data entry, those might be automated. But we have to remember AI also creates new jobs, new opportunities. Someone has to design, develop, maintain these AI agents, right? As AI gets more advanced, it's probably going to lead to brand new industries, entire fields, things we can't even imagine right now. So while there will be some shifts in the job market, it's not necessarily all doom and gloom. AI is more likely to work with us, enhance our abilities, rather than outright replace us. Imagine having this superpowered assistant taking care of all the tedious stuff, leaving you free to focus on the creative work, the strategic thinking, the stuff humans are really good at. Now, when we talk about these AI agents, having this control, I know some of you are thinking about security. What if someone hacks into UITARS, uses it for something bad? That's a valid concern, and it's something researchers are working on directly. They're developing security measures to prevent that kind of access, making sure UITARS is used safely and responsibly. They could revolutionize so many industries: healthcare, education, transportation, making them more efficient, personalized, accessible. Like any new tech, there are challenges, questions we need to answer. But ultimately, UITARS offers this glimpse into a future where AI is just seamlessly woven into our lives, boosting our capabilities, opening up possibilities we never even imagined. It's a future that's both exciting and makes you really stop and think. And it's a future that we're building right now, with every innovation, with every ethical decision we make. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of UITARS and this fascinating world of AI agents. I hope you learned something new, and maybe, just maybe, you're as excited about the future of AI as I am.